seeking recommendations for the best mobile automation tool. Hello, fellow testers. I'm currently working on a project that will require a thorough testing on both Android and iOS devices, most likely end to end testing for given functionality. So, I'm looking for some advice from the experienced members of this community on the best mobile automation tools available right now. Any recommendations, advice, or experiences that you could share that would be greatly appreciated. So let's put it like this. I've done a good bit of mobile automation. I've worked on Android Studio to try to use the emulators. I've worked on automating iOS devices and and using like the Xcode simulator to do that, as well as plugging in live devices to do automation testing and everything like that, right? I would say that what I found is if especially if you use Selenium for your web testing, I would have to go with Appium being one of the better mobile automation tools. Number one, mainly because it's open source, right? Um, that open sourceness, it's very like it helps reduce a lot of costs. But the problem that I would have with Appium in particular is that well, it's not even Appium that's a problem, right? It's your infrastructure. So let's say you're using the emulator, right? It can really slow, like it's so slow to use, especially those Android emulators. I feel like if you don't have 100 gigs of RAM on your computer, like it's not gonna run. And maybe that's because I was doing it on PCs. Maybe it'll run faster on a Mac. I don't know. But like a Mac that can do it, like how much is that Mac gonna cost versus a PC? Um, but I would also say this though, like so let's say you integrate Appium into your test, like so now, like what I would want to do is have a I would have a framework that I can run web tests on, but I can also have the option to run mobile tests through Appium on. But now the cool thing is because you're gonna have like you should be setting up the remote driver to do that. And when you set up the remote driver, you can send your test to you can send your test to if you do it the right way, you can send your test to any service provider that allows you to run tests on their system, right? So especially like mobile tests. So that's you can say like Browser Stack, Sauce Labs. Those are great for running automated mobile tests on actual live devices, right? So that's a great tool to use, but the problem is they are very expensive. All right. Though like, they're expensive tools, you know. And a lot of companies they don't want to fork up $5,000 plus for one license to be able to run tests like one at a time on these devices, and you can't even run them in parallel. You know. So what do you do? What do you do? I would say the newest, maybe not the newest, but I'm going to call it the newest solution to having to being able to run your automated tests in a efficient way, which isn't going to break the bank, is using the AWS device farm. So now you still need to write your test in a way that it can navigate through a mobile. So let's say you get a actual mobile device or an emulator, something to that extent, right? And you write the automated test to be able to run locally on that device through Appium, right? Now, let's say you set up the AWS device farm, which we are going to make a video for that on how to properly configure the AWS device farm. So you can have your automated tests run there instead of running like locally. And that's for like web browser or that's to run it on mobile devices, right? But what I'll say is use Appium, use local device to set up your test. I wouldn't even use the emulator because it might take a very long time to do that. But use a local device, maybe your own phone, to be able to navigate. And then what you're going to do is you are going to take that test and configure your remote driver to run on the AWS device farm. And then you can say, this is the device that I wanted to use. This is the all right. So we'll say this is like I wanted to run on these like iPad, let's say Google Pixel tablet, the new one that's coming out, um, on an iPhone, Samsung S22, whatever phones that they have available. You say like these are the locations that I wanted to run, and then you can send your device to the farm. And from my understanding, the last time I checked, the AWS device farm is a pay as you go system. So being that it's a pay as you go, you don't have to incur a bunch of cost and everything like that. So I think the AWS device farm makes it when it makes it affordable for you to be able to practice, because we believe in practice here. So it makes you, I guess they're getting started for 4th of July already. Look at that. So like I was saying, you get the AWS device. You get to practice. You get to practice like setting up using the AWS device farm. So now, once you actually get the opportunity to do it in a real production environment, you're good to go, right? So definitely work with Appium, right? Set up your tests to be able to run. Use it like use the local device to do that. Maybe we'll do that one day too. How to set up Appium to run on a local device. Maybe I've done that like so many years ago. So it'll be a good refresh, and it might help anyone who's watching as well, right? But then have those tests to be able to run on the AWS device farm, so you know how to use it, and you have another testing tool, and you can explain when you are presenting it to the powers that be that you've tested it using AWS device farm. This is how it runs. This is the cost that it incurred by us running these tests, all that good stuff, right?
If you enjoyed the fascinating information shared in this video and you want more, be sure to hit the subscribe button to Tech Coach Ralph to be notified for new videos.